My name's Sebastian. It doesn't define me, it's not who I am, and this is my story. I actually can't believe I'm filming this video. To be honest, I thought I would never, ever do this. I literally just thought I would keep it a secret, for myself at least. I feel like a part of growing and moving on and, moving on to the next chapter is to, I guess, to officially, let go all the weight that you've been carrying, that saying where once you feel all the relief, you feel like a pile of bricks released off your back. And I hope that after this video, I am going to officially move on from my past and completely cut those ties. So I'm not going to be super hype or fun and happy in this video. I'm still going to throw in some jokes, just be myself, but I just kind of want to just, talk and just explain something that a lot of you guys don't know about me and probably never thought I had, because if you don't even care, then just click off, it really doesn't matter. But if you do care, keep on listening. You may be wondering what this secret is and why I was admitted to a mental hospital and all of that. It's a long story. I think I should just start from the beginning and, explain the whole situation. So I guess we're gonna do that. So first, to start off, I hate to say this, because this doesn't define me and this is not who I am. This is just something that I have overcame. It still sometimes a little bit bothers me, a little bit. It still have a little bit of effect. It's always something that I'm gonna carry on for the rest of my life. But I have had anorexia. Ew, it's so weird talking about it. I've literally never talked about this unless it's for my friends or family and or for a doctor or a therapist. But I just hate saying it because it's just something that's so not me, and it's something that's so dark and toxic from my past. And I had anorexia, and it doesn't define me, it's not who I am, it's just something from my past, and it's just something I want to officially move on from. But this is my story. You may be wondering how this all happened. Well, growing up, I was honestly always really skinny, so I never worried about my weight or anything like that. So it was never really an issue. Literally, I was a twig for so long. I still am a twig. I don't understand how that happened, but yeah, I don't even know where to start. People who are skinny actually can get anorexia. Anyone could get anorexia. Anyone could get, honestly, anything. Bulimia, cutting, anything. You just never know what someone's going through, so you never want to judge or bully anyone. That's funny for me because I literally get bullied 24/7 on social media. Not bullied, but at least tons and tons of hate. Of course, I'm a strong person, and through everything that I've dealt with, I'm able to handle it, and it really does not bother me at all. But me 4 years ago, that definitely would have really bothered me. So I just want to bring a little bit of awareness. Just never judge a book by its cover and never bully or hate on anyone. Like I said, growing up, I was really skinny. Never was fat or chubby or anyone. I don't even like using the word fat, but I was never overweight. Never until I would say 4th or 5th grade, I started gaining weight. And I feel like it's just something naturally that at least my body, I don't know about, I'm not talking for everybody. For me, I think it was just just growing and I don't know, body changing. But I ended up putting on a couple extra pounds just because I probably wasn't as active as I should have been, and I drank a lot of soda and a lot of chips and just a lot of sitting around. I just watched TV all day long because, I don't know, just growing up I didn't have very many friends. I did have those friends at school and stuff, but I really didn't have many friends. I still don't have many friends. Literally every day from school I would come home and eat and just watch TV and literally do nothing because I was just lonely and bored, and my parents were always working, which was not an issue. That's just how it was in my house. My parents would be at work. I would walk home from school, and I did that for a solid 3 years. 5th grade, it really got on to me. If I have some photos, I will show some photos of how I looked in 5th grade. I wasn't fat or anything. I was just a little bit overweight. It wouldn't have took much work to really get rid of that. Anyways, I would say in 5th and 6th grade, I started to get kind of bullied for my weight and stuff, or at least laughed at and made fun of. It was kind of just the joke that everyone would say, it was funny, and of course I would laugh along with, because I thought it would take the attention off of me. To be honest, it really did bother me for a really long time. It bothered me so much to the point where I was willing to literally give up food, my everything. Literally, food was my comfort for everything. I think within my personality, I'm always one extreme or the other extreme, always one way or the highway. For instance, if my room is messy, it's going to be extremely messy, but if my room is clean, it's going to be absolutely spotless. There's never a middle for me. It's always one extreme to the other extreme. Yeah, I took eating a ton to the extreme, and then I realized that I was getting bullied for it and I wanted to do something about it. That's when I found out about the app called Lose It. This is not anything to bash the app or at all, like nothing. It could be used so well. Like in the beginning, it was a positive aspect for me. The app is intentionally to calculate your calories and all that, so you are able to lose weight healthy, but also at a slow and steady pace. But I cut my calories really short, really fast, and my family and friends didn't know about that. Like they just saw like my quick results and they're like, oh my gosh, so happy. So in the beginning, it was a positive thing. I started working out, but I was cutting a lot of calories. I just noticed as I lost more and more weight, I wanted to lose more and more, and that meant cutting even more and more calories to the point where I don't even want to say the number because it might trigger somebody. Yeah, so as the weeks went on, I kept dropping weight. I remember I would wake up every single morning and check my body, and I could determine if the day was going to be good or bad just based off of how I looked in the mirror that morning. And this was about when I was in 7th grade. It just kept going on and on. I actually kept bragging about it to my friends because I saw it as an accomplishment, because for so long I was gaining weight and now I was finally losing weight. I was talking about like, yeah, like I've been losing a pound or two every single day, and I'd brag about it. And in the beginning, my friends, of course, were like, yeah, that's awesome, that's great. And then it came to the point where I was looking very thin, and my friends were very concerned because I kept bragging about the weight that I've lost, and they're like, yo, you've lost way too much weight. And I don't know why I wanted to continue losing weight. By 7 months of counting calories and dropping so much weight, my goal was to literally be the thinnest person in the world. Why? I don't know. To be honest, it goes in depth within brain chemistry and within your nutrition. And of course I wasn't having nutrition because I wasn't eating, so I wasn't thinking properly, and I was actually going insane and actually going crazy by the day. Anorexia literally consumed my life within everything I did. I couldn't even finish my homework. I couldn't do any school. I didn't even have energy just to stay awake throughout the day. Literally, I would be in class counting my calories or counting what I could eat and what I couldn't eat throughout the day, or what my next meal was. I was always planning what it was. Brings me into my next subject, which is that this video is sponsored by... If it wasn't for them, I actually wouldn't have passed 7th and 8th grade. Tying this all together, I actually used this from 7th, 8th grade, and then all throughout high school. I didn't use it for every essay or test or whatever, but it did help me get that help that I needed, especially with proofreading. A lot of times I was so consumed within my eating disorder that I didn't have the brain functionality nor nutrition for my brain to function and have the energy to write things and to get all my schoolwork done, and so they really helped me. So if you guys need help within anything, within school, writing, proofreading, all that stuff, definitely go check them out. They are pretty amazing, and we all want good grades if we don't want to get in trouble by our parents. Check them out. Back into what I was saying, I didn't have energy to do any of my schoolwork. I would literally be counting my calories, planning my next meal, planning my next thing that I could eat, planning my next day of meals throughout all my classes. It was really bad. All I would do is drink water all day, and I got really thin, like to the point where I really wasn't healthy, and kids started calling me in to the office for me to be weighed in at the health office, and intentionally I was so mad and I'm so upset with my friends and colleagues and just everyone I was going to school with at the time. But now I realized that it was actually them having concern and caring about me. So I am grateful for that at the same time, that people were out there to, you know, be there to help one another. But at the time I was very upset. I was so angry that someone was trying to stop me from what I was trying to do, because in a way it was the only control that I felt like I had. All throughout 8th grade, I would get called in every week to get weighed in, and they would literally interrogate me in a way. They would just question me, and they would question my weight, and I would always just say like I lost weight in a healthy way and that it was just all water weight, which it was completely a lie. Every single day I would go to school and I would hear people call me walking skeleton, the walking dead, like I don't know. To be honest, at the same time, I wasn't in their shoes. Seeing it from a different perspective was probably very scary, and they didn't know how to handle it. So being very young and immature, I don't blame them for saying those things, and at the time it was hurtful, but I don't blame them because I really was unhealthy and I literally looked like a skeleton, and that's coming from me. I also remember one of my bestest friends actually defending me a lot of the time, and at the time I thought he was an amazing friend. The reality of it was my best friend actually had no idea what was going on because he would see me every single day to the point where he couldn't really notice, and that's how I felt about myself too. Like I didn't see that there was anything wrong while everyone was calling me a skeleton. My best friend would defend me, and I would defend myself because we really didn't see it. And when you see somebody every single day and you look at yourself every single day and analyze every little thing, you really don't notice a drastic difference. So with all that said, all throughout 8th grade that just kept happening, kept dropping more weight, teachers kept having more concerns. Of course, my parents would get called in every single week and they would like warn my parents, but I would be obviously a great liar and I would lie to my parents telling them that they're crazy and all this stuff and that this is just me and this is my body. And of course my parents wanted to believe me because I've never really lied to my parents, and so they did believe me and they were defending me. And I think at one point my dad almost like wanted to sue the school for harassing me, but let's be real, they were just concerned. And now leading into the summer of my 8th grade year going into senior year, this was probably one of the toughest times ever. This is the worst of where I was at. This is the point where I was literally going into high school and I was 65 pounds at my lowest. Like I was literally half the weight that I should have been. I remember all throughout that entire summer I laid down and slept and did anything to distract myself from eating. I literally would not hang out with my friends because I was afraid that I was going to have to eat. I was so afraid of food. Food became my biggest fear, like of all time. Like I hated it. I hated it. I thought if I ate anything, it would immediately make me gain weight. So I lost a lot of friends. I lost a lot of just connections. I lost a lot during that summer. Really, I was the most depressed I ever was. And my mom, they found out that I was actually like really sick and they tried to bring me into therapy and everything like that. The point is like if you don't want the help, it doesn't like matter how much therapy or whatever you want. None of that stuff is gonna work unless you want the help. So like at the time I really didn't want the help, so I would just lie to them and go to these expensive therapy classes that my parents are paying for, knowing that I could care less about what this lady is saying to me, and I would literally go one year out the other, and it was really tough. So then it came to the point where that my parents literally had to weigh me. I remember so vividly my mom would weigh me every single Wednesday after work to get my mom off my back. If you guys didn't know, 16 ounces is 1 pound. So to get her off my back, I would just drink 1.5 to 2 water bottles and have it held in my body every single time that she weighed me. So for instance, the first week I drank a water bottle, the second week I drank 3 water bottles, 4th week I drank like 5 water bottles and held it in my stomach, so I would weigh like more and more each time. That my mom actually doesn't know about this. I don't even know if she knows about this, but I drank so much water one time trying to make myself weigh a certain weight. I think I drank an entire gallon in under an hour and was holding it. I was holding it in so badly to keep it so I can weigh in for that scale so it could lay off my mom off my back and I can continue losing weight. The water literally started going into my veins and leaching in throughout my whole body and actually started going into my brain, like, which sounds insane, but I could literally swing my head around and I could hear the water sloshing my brain, and I felt so lightheaded. I was losing vision. I almost died because I was dying from water toxicity, and that is super dangerous, and I cannot believe anorexia literally like made me go crazy to think that that's okay to do to yourself, and it was my form of self-harm because I was so unhappy. It came to the point where I literally could not drink water. I couldn't weigh in at that scale, so I had to move on to the next thing because I was like, I wasn't gonna stop. Like, this came to the point where I started putting weights on my like thighs, like those ankle weights that you could put on your like ankles. Well, I started putting them on my thighs because my thighs were so light, and I would just put them really high up so you couldn't notice them, and I would just add in more and more weight to the thing every week. And then it came to the point where one time my mom weighed me and she grabbed my thigh a little bit too high to put my leg on the scale, and she felt it. She felt all the weights, and that was like the end of it. My mom literally, that was the breaking point, I think. My mom couldn't handle it at all anymore. Like, she was literally done. And she was my stepmom, by the way. My parents were divorced, so I lived with my dad and my stepmom. And so my dad wasn't really too involved with it. He was just like very hurt that I was like basically killing myself. I was lying to my parents way too much to the point where she didn't know what to do because she was paying for therapy. She was doing everything she possibly could. She worked at like meal plans. I'm talking everything across the board. And I didn't want to do it. I didn't want to work with it. So she was done. She literally kicked me out of the house basically. And I had to move in with my real mom, which at the time I never ever have lived with my real mom. It's definitely a change, and it was really hard. Me and my real mom like talk here and there now, like, and I definitely try to be as close as I can now, but at the time I was not close with my mom at all. Like, so I got kicked out. My real mom wanted to help me out, and she would do the same things with meal plans, weigh me, and just do the same stuff that my stepmom was basically doing. I mean, there wasn't really much you can do. This is right when I was starting high school. I was just so beyond depressed. Like, I actually wanted to die, and I really expressed that. And I remember being made fun of so bad in high school, just a lot, to the point where like I actually wanted to die, like literally wanted to die. And that's what I was doing. I was slowly killing myself with my eating disorder. I remember one night I spent the night at my like best friend's house. My best friend fell asleep, of course, and then I stayed up because I could never sleep. And I remember one night my heart literally stopped for a solid like 20 seconds. I literally could not breathe. That was like the part where I was like, my body is actually eating away at my heart. So if you guys didn't know, know, when you starve yourself so much, your body eats away its own self, which is a form of killing yourself and a form of self-harm. And I was actually dying. And of course that scared me, but it didn't stop me. Fast forward like a month after that night, I was just texting my mom like, I really can't do this anymore. Like, I was just done. I'm not gonna cry or anything because I'm so like over it. Like, it's a little bit hurting me a little bit, but like, I'm not gonna allow that to like bother me. Anyways, I just wanted to die, which is so sad because like, that would have been so sad. That's so dumb that I literally was willing to die because I wanted to be skinny. Like, are you kidding me? Remember, I just would work out, and then I just remember one day I looked at myself after at the gym and I texted my mom and I, you know, like I said, wanted to kill myself. And that's when I actually got admitted to a mental hospital. I'm not gonna say which hospital it was, kind of confidential. Like, once you get admitted in there, you have to do a whole bunch of like tests. Like, the doctor comes in and asks a whole bunch of questions, and like they ask you if you want to end your life and all kinds of stuff like that, and if you don't want to live anymore. And of course, I really didn't at the time. Anyways, through all the tests, I went into the mental hospital, which is so weird saying that I was in a mental hospital, but I was. Here I am. Literally do all these tests on you. I remember I went into this white room on this like gross chair. Oh, it was just horrible. And then this old guy came in. Oh, like I literally had to take off my pants and just like they had to evaluate me, like cuts, bruises, all that kind of stuff. This is so gross, but they literally stuck a thermometer in your you know what? Yeah, an old man doing that. It was literally nasty. Like, that was my consequences of me because I wanted to be skinny. Like, are you kidding me? One thing led to another. I was in the hospital and that was actually horrible. That was probably one of the worst points of my entire life. And that's when I knew I wanted to make a change because it was literal jail. Like, it was straight up jail. You couldn't do anything. You couldn't talk to anyone really. Like, oh my God, it was so horrible. I remember the first night I was there, I woke up at 2 a.m. hearing like this alarm and these two nurses strapped me down to a bed and literally stick needles in my arm. And I think they would do this almost every night. They would put me under medication. I didn't want to take the medication. They forced me to take the medication. I think I was there for a week. I don't remember. There for some time. The food was horrible. But on the bright side, I did make some really cool friends. I don't really talk to any one of them now, but we all had our own issues. It was quite an experience to like see different people's backgrounds and just where they come. And there's all different types of people there. And some people really don't get better after that. Throughout that entire week, I only talked to my mom once for like 10 minutes. That was it. Like, I felt so alone. It was just so scary. Like, it was just like, I'm just thinking about everything, like how empty and cold and just like depressed. Oh, it was just horrible. You couldn't go outside. Like, it was probably the worst experience of my entire life so far, at least. So I finally left the mental hospital, and I remember I was under medication that I had to take because I was taking medication, and I literally refused to take that medication because I was so, at that point, like going through all the traumatizing things in that hospital, I knew I never wanted to go there again. I was just like, no, I'm done. Like I said, I'm one extreme or the other. So I was like cold turkey. I was like, I'm not taking that medication. And my parents were like, you have to take the medication. Because even after the mental hospital, because my stepmom and my dad still didn't feel comfortable with me being at the house because I lost so much trust with them within all the lies that I told, that it just really made me heartbroken. I ended up moving in with my grandmother, which was so grateful of her. Just like a lot happened. I'm not really going to get involved with that. Anyways, I didn't take the medication because I was like, I'm not going to take that. And I did it on my own and I recovered by myself. I started gaining weight, and that was so hard because when you start gaining weight after anorexia and stuff like that, I remember also too, I had to gain weight automatically in the hospital because they would put feeding tubes in me, so I was already gaining weight. So once you get those initial calories after you haven't eaten for like 2 years, like I had anorexia for like 2-3 years, 2.5 years, you just blow up because your body holds on to everything because it thinks it's in survival mode. So I remember my face was so puffy, my body was so unproportioned, like it was so bad. For someone who already has body image issues, that made it extremely worse, and that's what makes it so hard for people with eating disorder issues to recover, because when they go through that, it's so hard to get past that, and it's really hard. It takes a solid 8 months to a year to fully be back to normal, back to the state that you were before the whole eating disorder. It took about a year of a lot of depression, but at least I was eating and not dying. It was really, really hard. Probably one of the hardest things I ever come. But on the bright side, I got out of it and I became very, very strong, and I'm so grateful for myself to come out of that. I still struggle with some body image issues all the time, and I have such a hard time with the idea of perfection. Like, nobody's perfect, but I still struggle with that. But I'm healthy, at least a lot more happier. I wouldn't say I'm extremely happy, but I'm pretty happy for the most part. But yeah, that's my story. It feels so weird talking about this. Like, you guys, I don't even know if I can put this out. I think I should though. It's just really, really hard because that was just something super, super, super personal. I'm sorry that this video wasn't a super happy video, but at least it ended happy. I'm here, I'm happy, I'm alive, I'm stronger, and I'm healthy. I don't know. I hope that gives you a little bit more understanding of my story and my life. I love you guys so much. Thank you guys so much for watching. I promise next week's video will be a lot more happier. I really wanted to get that out there because it's something that I've been holding in for a really long time, and it feels so good to have that off my chest now. I love you guys so much. I'll see you guys next week. Stay amazing, stay beautiful. All right, I love you. Hey!